Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Beyond the Summit presentation. I'm Blaze here with Vickermon. We're going to be casting up this game between Neolution.TH and Neolution International. Going to be a best-of-3 series here to decide one of the two quarter-final matches that we're going to be covering here for Beyond the Summit today. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Should be an interesting match here to see exactly what's going to be going on with the GEST. But again, I am Blaze. Here's Vickermon. How's it going, man?
Ha! Unmuted. Hi. Everything's going quite well. It's a bit early in the morning, but I'm actually pretty excited about these two teams. I think that the two quarterfinal matches that we're going to be watching, starting out with this best-of-3 between Neolution Thailand and Neolution International, are both going to be really, really high quality. These are two excellent teams. You've got the sort of same esports angle, same esports organization angle going on here, where obviously Neolution, which is a Thai esports organization, actually sponsors both of these teams. You have sort of the home team playing the Radiant, so that's a full Thai team. And then you've got, I think it's three people from Singapore and just a general Southeast Asia team in the form of Neolution International. And these are two teams that have put up some really good results recently, Blaze. We did see Neolution International take a game off LGD.Int in the G1 qualifiers. They did eventually end up dropping that series, but they did quite well. And then they placed 4th in the Dota Hut Invitational last week, which is also a very, very high-level tournament. They placed behind Orange, Zenith, and I can't remember what the other team was, but 3 extremely strong Southeast Asia teams as well. So these are two teams very, very strong. I'm interested in seeing this game. We've got one stand-in each for both of the teams, but these are stand-ins they've used before. So that'll be Ta playing support for Neolution Thailand, and Jan, who's going to be playing one of the 3 cores on International.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so interesting draft to start things off here. We do see the Keeper Light and the Lifestealer taken off the board for the Thailand team, and then Batrider and one that they're contemplating on about to take out for International. But one that means that there are a couple really, really powerful options here still available in the pool. Of course, Thailand will have first pick, but following that up, there are a lot of different dynamic drafts that these teams can bring to the table. I've heard that the International team likes to play like CK Wisp and stuff like that, and that can have a lot of aggression and very, very high activity. The main thing is they're going to be looking for powerhouse objectives and controlling the flow of the mid game here. So I'm curious to see exactly what they're going to be looking at for first pick. Do you have any insight on that?
Both of these teams really like to pick up an explosive sort of mid-hero pretty early. I've actually seen them first pick Quap, although I don't think that'll happen this game. But things like Magnus, Nyx Assassin are definitely going to be valued very, very highly by these teams, maybe even something like a Darkseer. But I expect those to go early. I expect... okay, so there we go with the Nyx Assassin. One of these teams will almost certainly pick up Queen of Pain. They both really, really like this hero, and they play it a lot. And since these two teams probably know each other, considering the same company sponsors them, I don't think they've ever met at a pro level, but you can be sure they get tons and tons of scrimmages against each other, friendly matches, and that'll give them a good idea of how to sort of strategize against each other. But I would expect a Queen of Pain to come out pretty soon, and then there's a wide variety of pocket picks both teams can deploy. When I've watched these two teams, they've played pretty standard lineups. You'll occasionally get like one pocket pick. Like I think Thailand's run a Dazzle before. We saw International run a Invoker against LGD.Int, but those are the exception rather than the rule. Usually they focus on solid, good lineups. Okay, so they... oh, now I get to feel smart because I picked all 3 heroes that ended up being the first picks.
Nice, nice. Yeah, high priority. Yeah. And high-impact heroes, absolutely. Nyx Assassin has amazing amount of control through his powerhouse disables. Did get reduced a little bit in his Carapace's potential duration as far as the reflection aspect goes, but still having a lot of presence with that Impale, and if the Carapace does strike true, which is generally going to be great against a Magnus. When he RPs, you want to follow that up with big AoE abilities like Queen of Pain's Scream and Sonic Wave, but a well-timed Carapace can negate a lot of the potential damage output there. Nevertheless, Magnus and Queen of Pain picked up for the International team, and that's going to set them up very, very nicely for powerhouse team fights. As far as lanes, it's the question, both Queen of Pain and Magnus are going to be run as solos. The question is to what end. Probably Queen of Pain is going to be more survivable in the off-lane situation where Magnus could take up the mid, but they can technically switch that up depending on how comfortable they feel. But answering back, Ty picking up the Shadow Demon and Tinker. Interesting picks here with a lot of potential presence, not only with the Shadow Demon Nyx combo, if they do run the Nyx as a support, setting it up so that Shadow Demon can just do huge damage with his illusions, the disruption, and follow that up with a great amount of utility, but also this Tinker pickup, which really allows them to take an advantage when they do get tower kills or get any real gold on the board for the team. Tinker can take that to the bank and pick up some very, very powerful items that he can use more and more in the big team fights.
Right. I do like the Tinker pick. This is a pick that's more popular a little bit in Asian Dota than Western Dota. You see Tinker run all over the place. You see him as a mid. You actually see him as the #1 in some games. There's a wide variety of places you can use him in. And Tinker's just such a versatile hero, and some of these teams are just so good at running him that he sort of does everything. He's like the Swiss Army knife of heroes. In fact, he literally is like a Swiss Army knife because once he has 4 or 5 items, like he has that Sheepstake, the Blink, the Dagon if necessary, or a Ghost Scepter or what have you. He's just extremely versatile in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. And with the rearm, those are tools that never dull. As long as he has mana to spare, he is going to be able to just keep on hacking away with some great counter push mechanics through the March of Machines, some good nuke, maybe a little bit disable through the laser. Those kinds of things really, really add up. And of course, Sheepstake, Blink, Force-F, all great items to decide how the engagement will take place. A little bit of control as far as his own movement, and also the disables of the opposition. Because Queen of Pain has a couple different routes that she can go as far as her item builds up, and she can go for something like an Aghanim's short cooldown ulti, a lot of nuke damage. That'll synergize nicely with the mag, kind of for a wombo combo aspect, but still, if she does not go for that, then she's going to be lacking in a BKB. And as soon as somebody doesn't pick up a Black King bar, Tinker has a great opportunity to just scythe away sheep after sheep after sheep, and suddenly they can just take one person or multiple completely out of the team fight, which is really, really big.
That's a great point, Blaze. And the fact that Tinker does have so much lockdown, so much magic, really pushes you into valuing that BKB extremely highly on your core heroes like Queen of Pain. And that's strategically very valuable because, as I mentioned earlier, these teams really like to play that sort of explosive Queen of Pain focused style. So it's not that Tinker is a hard counter to Queen of Pain, because he's not. But what he does is he ensures that the Queen of Pain has to value, a BKB over things like a Sheepstick, over things like an Aghanim's Scepter that could blow the game open. Instead, she has to play a little bit more defensively. And I think Neo-Thailand will be very happy with that.
Yeah, and this Tinker has a lot of potential, the Rubik has a lot of potential as well. I mean, this selection here, generally you would want to pick that against the Magnus, but Rubik making sure that they can ban carries in this phase, more so than having to worry about an extra support, because there is some flexibility there. Rubik or Nyx can be run on the mid lane, and if you have such big, powerful cooldowns that can be stolen, like the Sonic Wave, the Reverse Polarity, you don't want to actually give away the Rubik. These kind of high intellect heroes, like the Tinker and the Shadow Demon, as well as Nyx, who's generally played very similarly to an intellect, it might not be the best composition for Thai as far as their lanes and such, but it still is one thing that they just don't want to have to worry about. So picking it up is almost like a pseudo ban, and that allows them to take off most of the key carries against Thailand here. They ban out the Anti-Mage, the Alchemist, and the Phantom Lancer, and they still get the Rubik for themselves, which I think they can use to great effect here.
Definitely.
But how about that Gyrocopter?
So this is a hero who's very, very interesting because he's just sort of starting to percolate into the Asian metagame. Southeast Asian teams have a bigger propensity to pick him than Chinese teams. Gyrocopter was rated very, very low in China for a while. In fact, there was an interview with one of LGD International's players, where he was just like, you can't lane with him. He's too difficult to lane with because you just get punished. But I think teams are starting to wake up to the upside potential of the hero. Like, yes, he's not the greatest. He can be punished in the lane, but just the upside of the damage, the upside of what he can bring to a team is very, very, very strong. And so Neo.Int are going to delay their #1 pick, which is probably going to be picked up by Ninja Boogie, who is representing the USA both in his name and his colors in this game. So I think Chad is a little bit favoring Neo.Int just for that factor. But I do want to say this game, and even in this draft, is looking pretty even so far. I'm interested in how late Darkseer slipped through, because this is unusual for any metagame. It's rare that we see Darkseer picked up just this late. But it does give them a nice combination of they can generate a ton of illusions of any sort of big hero, and it's going to be Spectre.
Yeah, that's going to be very, very interesting how that plays on out. It's going to be pretty unique. Ninja Boogie playing up that Spectre, going to be farming like mad. His intention here is just to obviously get big items really, really quickly. Maybe go for a Desolate-oriented build. We've seen that a little bit in the Western scene with things like a Drum or a Manta picked up early so that the Spectre can stay mobile, stay active, and get a lot of hard right-clicks on in here. Yeah. But either way, just having a lot of potential and scalability in the late game just needs to find that early farm, and that's what the Earthshaker is all about. Really, really really great turtle hero, defensive tri-lane support. That's the name of his game there. So Lei going to be picking that up alongside Yan, who will also help out in the supportive mindset there. And generally speaking, I think they're going to be in a great position to keep Spectre rock and rolling, keep Ninja Boogie farming away. And if he hits that kind of threshold, even a spam perma-sheep Tinker is not going to be able to really directly contest things because there's still a whole other team to deal with. There's still Queen of Pain, Magnus creating space and providing a lot of potential. So we do have a quick pause coming out, but how do you think things are going to work out in these matchups here?
So I like both of these teams' lineups, obviously with this pickup of the Spectre, and it's an interesting pick because, of course, so many carries were taken out in that draft, Blaze. I mean, I think we saw Lone Druid, Alchemist, PL, AM, Jug, and, like, Void and Lifestealer were all banned out. Like, you end up with just not that many carries left in the pool. So I don't think it's that they knew they were going into the draft, we're going to pick up Spectre. I think Spectre just came out as, okay, it's one of the stronger carries left in the pool. And that could cost Neo.Int. I mean, you mentioned that they have this sort of turtley lineup with the defensive Rubik, the defensive Earthshaker, and those are good, but there is a lot of ganking power that comes out from this Neo-ES team, especially once this Tinker, if Bungzelrodi actually hits a quick Boots of Travel on that Tinker, which will be a mid-Tinker, and if he's up against Magnus, as you said he might be, he's going to have a pretty easy time because Magnus is, not the strongest mid in the world. He's able to hold his own and he's able to get levels. But is he able to actually punish Tinker enough that he won't hit that Boots of Travel? Especially considering they are on Radiant and they have the option, if they want to, of stacking up these ancient stacks and actually getting them all down with March of the Machines. It's going to be tough, and once that Tinker's on the board and once these Boots are traveling around, the Spectre is in a lot of trouble until Ninja Boogie really, really farms that hero up.
Okay, so do you feel the international team's current positions actually reflect how they're going to want to lane? Right now, I definitely think Yan is going to be sticking to bottom. He has a lot of defensive items, Stout Shield, the HP restoration, as well as some stats. So I think he definitely is going to be looking at that off lane, but we do see here Queen of Pain, Blah, up on the top here, whereas the Spectre is prepared to block up on the mid. So do you think Ninja Boogie is going to be running a dual mid situation over here?
It would be... That would be very interesting, but I'm very, very scared of them doing that, honestly. But let's think about mid. No, yeah, he's going to go up top.
Okay.
I don't think it's worth discussing that much, just because even though mid is somewhat safe because you can escape and she can path block up into this territory here, this would still be just an unnecessarily big gambit. This is a best of 3, but if you're picking a Spectre already, you're already on kind of thin ice, and I wouldn't recommend putting her mid or doing something like that. You might as well play as safely as possible, make sure that you get her. I mean, Spectre is a hero with just so little utility if things don't go your way.
Yeah, and their item build as well. I mean, nothing defensive whatsoever. Really just wants to farm things up, and in this position, as we were talking about with the defensive tri-lane of Rubik and Earthshaker, that shouldn't be too big of a deal here, but it is putting it in an interesting position here. The one thing that I would have liked about a little bit more heroes put on the mid lane is it would put a bit more pressure on Tinker. He might not be able to get his booster travels nearly as swiftly, and if that was the case, then they could actually change the pace of the game completely. But in this situation, of course, as you mentioned, it's just the bottom line is International's priority is to go in and get the farm on the Spectre, and that's what they're going to be able to accomplish here. Is Darkseer's not even going to contest it. Took a few swings back and forth with the Earthshaker, and in the end, it's just going to fall back, stack up some camps, and farm down the jungle.
So let's quickly, before we start, Blaze, who do you favor for this game 1 and why?
I think that right now, the Spectre pick, it has a very, very high potential. The Gambit so far has paid off as far as the draft goes, where Spectre is going to have maybe a 10-minute period of free farm. The Darkseer is going to wait at least a few levels before transitioning up, and in general, I definitely see it more likely that the Spectre is going to be finding the farm she wants. So I think at this position that if the status quo remains and Ninja Boogie just keeps on farming away, it's going to be something that cannot be contested. But a lot of things can be surprising. If an RP is missed, suddenly that's a big cooldown wasted, and International doesn't really have the space to create for Spectre. And so once Neo-ES starts moving around of their own disposition, once they start actually having more control of the map, it's going to be harder and harder for Spectre to find that very key farm.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I just... they're going to do their best job with Spectre, but I just worry that it isn't exactly what they wanted and it doesn't fit into their plan as much, especially since the Queen of Pain is going to have to play just a little bit more defensively once that Tinker starts developing. I think there's a concern that Neo International might just be a little slow out of the gate, which wouldn't really give them what they want as far as they might not be able to survive to the point where Spectre can just completely carry the game. Considering, you know, Gyro Tinker is no slouch either.
Down at bottom, Jan does get picked off. We didn't actually catch it directly, but we did have the disruption into Impale, and that's just a lot of damage coming out. So yeah, really, really good opportunity for them. The deal with the Magnus is his skewer only does so much. Rank 1 skewer is only 600 range, so what it is that it's a 30-second cooldown. It's a very limited escape. It still makes him more survivable than the average hero, but
they might get Darkseer.
They've been putting a lot of pressure on him. They do get the telekinesis. They actually go for a beautiful Fisher. KYT doing some damage with his Ion Shell, but is going to take a lot of right-click harassment. Luckily for him, Rubik is only level 1, so the Stout Shield is going to negate most of the damage, and he will be able to head on home here, but it just it kind of goes to show that if you have the Rubik up top, that's going to be a position where Darkseer can't very directly contest anything going on, but if the Rubik's not up top, he's not going to be able to help out Jan, and we do see the detriment of his experience already accruing here. He steps a toe out of line, and he's going to get not only first blooded, but subsequent kills going in for the carry Gyrocopter.
Right, and this is sort of what I meant with they didn't necessarily want the Spectre. If you're forced to put Mag post-nerf on the solo lane, you sometimes have a lot of trouble with an aggressive lane like this. Shadow Demon Nyx Gyro is so much damage, and the Magnus is going to have so much difficulty with it. I think what they wanted was a tri-lane, it was an aggressive try with a carry, and then to put the Quap solo safe in the Magnus mid. And they've sort of been pressured into this position where the Magnus is in a difficult sort of suffers. And you can see it in the levels, Blaze. I mean, they're already quite a bit behind on XP even this early. Yeah,
the Magnus is actually having a really bad time of things. Hiding out in the trees now, Jan will probably get to level 2 if he's not spotted out. But nevertheless, it's very, very slow going for him. And it could be difficult to kind of go from here. So Magnus getting level 6 delayed is going to inhibit their teamfight potential substantially, especially since Tinker is going to become more and more mobile. As he gets more and more spammy. He's going to have the Soul Ring, have the bottle, so on and so forth. We do see pressure coming in from Blah onto Tinker, but we also see a big, big transition. And Upper looking to go in on Magnus, but good thing for Jan is they do have that Dire Ward right here, providing plenty of vision, and he's able to fall back to his Tier 2 safety, and from there, they're just kind of wasting their time. And you were talking about levels and how right now Tai has a ton of a huge, huge advantage, but if they keep on roaming around without accomplishing too much, all they're going to get is towers, which that being said, isn't too bad for them. They want to put pressure out and end the game sooner rather than later up against a Spectre, but nevertheless, they need a level advantage as well.
And Quap has taken control of the middle, so that's pretty substantial. Even if they do lose this Tier 1 tower, which it's hard to say, actually, because they've got 2 players back here, but they're only level 2 and 3. I think International may continue pressuring this, but you can see that Tinker has been completely zoned out here. He's just waiting for the courier, this cute little Hexapus courier, to bring him back his bottle, just so that he can re-enter the lane. And for now, he's just farming these jungle creeps, which, to his credit, he's stacked quite well. So that'll give him a little bit of a comeback, but Quap is definitely just controlling him.
Down in bottom lane, the last hit of the tower goes to the Gyrocopter, but they pop off the Shockwave as well as the Telekinesis to burn down Thaw. Nice defensive disruption as well as Impale, but yeah, still going to go for the Skewer, only hitting on Illusions, and they're both going to have to fall back. Flag Cannon doing a lot. Actually, I think canceling out a Salve, which means that they have just lost a huge amount of sustainability on the lane, and not too much of a disadvantage for the Tai lineup here. So they were able to really, really take a lot of damage on in, and yeah, they got a few hits on the Shadow Demon, but he's right back up to full, and raring to go to keep Intreso just farming away down on bottom and keeping the push pressure going.
Yeah, I mean, the aggression is good because as long as you play sort of keep away from the Tier 1 tower, you can ensure that it actually comes down just to the damage from the players. And I like that. I think they're playing well. I think Gyro is getting good farm, actually a little bit better than the Spectre. Obviously, eventually Spectre is going to do more with it, but in the short to medium term, Gyro is going to be very, very scary. And actually, there's probably going to be a gank coming out on Quap with this invisibility rune. Maybe they won't go for it after all.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised Upper is falling back from this position. I guess just wants to maybe put some pressure out up on the bottom lane, just continuously making sure that Mag gets absolutely nothing here, but it seemed like at least an opportunity to give Tinker a little bit of an opportunity to bounce back up in the mid, because if Tinker can get a kill, that just completely changes how his game's been rolling for the moment. Yeah, we do see a Soul Ring coming out for the Darkseer, as well the bottle just continuing to be ferried back and forth for that Tinker. So you can kind of see in this position, with Queen of Pain 35 last hits, and more importantly 21 denies against the Tinker, that's going to be her having just this huge advantage that they need outside help to really, really change. They need the ganks, and Upper with an Invis Rune seemed like the best opportunity, but instead just tossing that away, unfortunately.
I think maybe if Ta and the Shadow Demon had been with him, he would have gone for it, but he just decided not to. And that's actually one little bit of a weakness I see in Ty's up lineup. They've been good about it so far, but when you have it's just sort of stand-in politics. When you have a stand-in on a number 3, like you have Jan on Neo.Int, he has to be there for team fights, but he doesn't have like one specific person that he needs to have extremely tight, coordinated relationship with. Whereas when one of your supports is a stand-in, it's a little bit tough.
Oh, popping in on mid. They go for the Scream and the Sonic Wave already, doing the haunt just to keep vision, get some Desolate procs going through. They actually commit. A Spectre jumps on in and will be able to get some vision through that dagger. One right click will set up a kill for Ninja Boogie, which is great start for him. That's the first kill on the board for the team as a whole, but they do get the Scream off, and now the Shadow Strike going out on Gyrocopter, but Quab taking too much damage, will take a fall, as well to Rubik. Too much big damage, and that is a triple kill in the end for Intreso. Just completely incinerating people with early flat cannon damage. He's got 4 in the flat cannon. He has Agi Treads, and even if it's only 80-some odd base damage, it's really sufficient for the fact that the Earthshaker's only level 4. The Rubik only 1 armor at level 4 himself.
And the honestly call down is no slouch either as far as damage. It's 350 if both of them land, obviously reduced by magic damage past that. But a great play, and honestly, props to Ta and the Shadow Demon as well. I was just about to sort of trash him for not coordinating well enough with upper, but his stand-up play there was excellent. He disrupted himself at the absolute last possible second, and what that did is it meant the Quap didn't feel comfortable leaving, because he was like, well, Blah was like, I'm here, I might as well secure the kill. But instead, sure, he secured the kill, but I mean, they lost 3 heroes for the privilege.
Exactly. And that's 3 big kills. The Gyrocopter picking up every single one of those. He's going to get some huge items. It looks like BKB is his item of choice in this case here. What he's going to be able to negate by that, you're looking at Telekinesis, the Queen of Pain damage, as well as the Fisher coming out from that Earthshaker. Actually, all of his stuns and damage output. So it's going to be really important. We do see Spectre in a terrible spot. Ninja Boogie will go and just Spectral Dagger right on through the trees. Will it be enough, though? Drums and Tranquils not getting out of range of that disruption. There's the Soul Catcher to lock him in as well. They only have a rank 1 vacuum though, and they can't pull him back too far, doing a little bit of damage here and there, but they are going to fall back. There is damage. Beautiful Fisher coming in from the Earthshaker. Now Magnus is here to lock in Intreso. He should be taking a fall very swiftly, and yeah, that's going to be the only casualty in this exchange. Earthshaker taking a lot, but Lay still will be able to survive, and now Jan with another Shockwave. We'll be looking for more, but Upper coming in with popping off a couple cooldowns here and there, will be able to secure 1 revenge kill the other way around.
I think they're going to try for more. If I were them, I'd probably try for more.
You only have so much mana to work with on the Nyx is a problem. He can Vendetta in, but then he can't follow up with the Impale, so it's actually pretty risky.
Yeah, that's a good point. But, you know, we're talking about Pinoy Dodo here. Actually, we're not, because they're the Thai team. They're not actually Pinoy. But we are talking about Southeast Asia, where they do sometimes get very hype indeed. But maybe it's a little early still. Still game 1. The stakes are not yet dramatically high. This is the quarterfinals, and I don't remember 100%, but I think this is single elim, so...
Yeah, I believe so. So yeah, 2 quarterfinals matches are going to be cast back to back here, both of them best of 3, and then we will take the winners of those different matches and go on into a semifinals round. So that's what we're going to be looking at there, and hopefully we get to see whichever one is prevailing and actually deserving of that position. Of course, both teams have made it this far, so they
much
have
action up here in the top lane. 4 players still up here. They really want to just pressure Ninja Boogie. It took them a little while to decide that they wanted to do this, but now they really want to do it. They want to get this tower, they want to dive past it, and this could be trouble right here.
Yeah, finding out Earthshaker, at least they got the homing missile, they have the Shadow Poison, they have vision on him completely, and there's no way he's getting out, but they do pop off the haunt from the Spectre. She's not going to come on in, there's no way, but instead, just trying to get some action, they get the kill in the tower anyways, and now Blah in a terrible spot will just be completely eviscerated. Quick little Vendetta stun, and yeah, there's not much more to say about that one there. Just Blah wanted to assist, but in that position, wasn't ready to deal with the incoming Nyx damage, and instead got, of course, brought down very quickly. And that's one of the issues with Queen of Pain. She's great survivability with her Blink cooldown, but without that active, her HP threshold not that substantial. And now the push continues up on the top lane here. One thing to mention as well is the Boots of Travels is up for Tinker, has been for another the past minute or two. So in this position, not only are they putting tons of pressure out on the top lane, getting towers left and right, and have a kill advantage, but also now the Tinker is going to be able to just push away at just about any lane he wants to. They're just jumping in, back and forth to different bases, has Soul Ring and Bottle. That's all he really needs to just spam out his maxed out March and push out every lane simultaneously, as well as potentially farm up some Ancients. So we're going to see his GPM skyrocket.
Yeah. Honestly, I wanted to quickly shout out the Earthshaker fissures have just been so on point. It's just I don't think Neolution just quite has enough in addition to that Fissure. Like, I mean, Fissure is not great damage. It's great area denial, but they've mostly had to use it defensively. There was that one great first blood attempt on the Darkseer, but Ninja Boogie wasn't there to deal the damage as Spectre. Not that he has that much damage early, but for what it's worth, he is going the sort of new school Desolate first Spectre build. I actually like this because it gives her a surprising amount of damage early, especially when she uses Haunt. It actually can be very, very respectable damage. Yeah. So he does have some ability to contribute to a fight. The problem is he's still quite weak just in terms of survivability at this point. He's got the drums, he's got the tranquils, but you know, once those tranquils sort of pop, even if you have area walk from the Spectral Dagger, it's sometimes very, very hard for you to actually escape. Yeah. And Neo-Tai know this, and they're going to seek to pressure this. And I think this comes down to the fact that, you know, Neolution sort of had to scramble with the Spectre pick. They had to pick lanes that they didn't love, and they can still win easily, but it's going to be an uphill battle to make sure that the Spectre is safe, especially with the tier 1 down. Darkseer in trouble up here.
Yeah, he is actually in a pretty rough spot, but that Surge is very, very powerful. Going to be up in 5 seconds, and I think this might give him a nice opportunity. With the Fissure on cooldown, he will be able to walk on away, and that's some wasted time where Spectre's just not farming. Every second counts. Literally every single last hit is a very big impact because Spectre makes more use than almost any other hero as far as just getting that extra farm. We are going to see a hasted Tinker going in onto Lei, trying to bring him down quickly, and he is getting rocket damage as well. Probably can pop off a good March, just doing laser for the moment, and I think he's actually in a pretty bad spot here. Lei is dropping too low, though. He will be just the casualty of War. Thaw popping off that disruption, and they're actually going to get the call down damage as well. So this is going to be able to just completely destroy him. He is getting hit by that homing missile. Here comes Magnus to turn things around nicely. Shockwave and the RP, but it was at the cost of no follow-up damage. Now we do see Brown coming on in. There was a beautiful, beautiful Sonic Wave coming out by Blah, and they're looking to bring down Entrezo, but they don't get that last bit of damage. Lei TP's on in, but just a little bit too late, and so they get a nice follow-up. They get a nice return, but in the end, they still lost a decent bit for that exchange.
They didn't gain much of anything, honestly. The Spectre kill would have been one thing, but I don't know if you noticed, Blaze, but they just slightly misaimed the Soul Catcher, so it hit a creep just as it was dying, and it didn't hit the Spectre. And that was the difference maker, honestly. Yeah. We're talking about, it's only a rank 1 Soul Catcher, but it's 20% extra damage. They could possibly have killed her, but instead, great defensive RP, they get a couple kills, they get a deny, and honestly, Neo-Int come out of that looking pretty good, especially because they saved Ninja Boogie's Spectre, and that's one step closer to his Diffusal Blade.
Yeah, very, very important if they're going to stay on top of things. One thing I want to comment on, you were talking about the buildup of the Desolate, just as a whole, a great build for Spectre personally, but think of it in the aspect of the team fight. It's actually a very, very common thing for a Spectre to go for Desolate when you have an AoE-oriented lineup, because it creates this kind of situation where you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you spread out, you're going to get hit by every single one of those Haunt Illusions proccing off Desolate. Huge, huge pure damage coming on out, but if you group up, they have a friggin' Magnus, Queen of Pain, and an Earthshaker. They will punish you insanely well the second that you cluster up together. So in this situation, you spread out, you're going to take some damage. You group up together, it's going to be even worse for you. So in this position, it really makes it so that Neo-Tai doesn't really have a good alternative.
Neo-Int, you mean? Oh, Neo-Tai, yeah, yep. Sorry. This is the problem with two teams being sponsored by the same organization. And actually, I think Orange are under the Neo tag these days as well. So 3 very competitive Southeast Asia teams all under the same auspices. It's going to be tough to differentiate, but I don't think we're casting Orange today, unless maybe a semifinal match later, so we'll see.
Perhaps. Nevertheless, yeah, and of course, yeah, this is actually technically my debut as far as Asian Dota goes, so I'm not as good as I should be on the teams, but hopefully that can improve drastically over the next few hours, so we'll see. But anyways, Queen of Pain picking up a rank 2 ultimate, has that available, and the next team fight could be very, very decisive. Right now, I have to say the advantage is very, very well in Ty's camp. They have a nice gold advantage, and the experience isn't lacking either, so in that situation, Gyrocopter can just keep on farming, finish up that BKB shortly, and from there they can try to contest different key objectives, a tier 2 tower, a Roshan, those kinds of things, and the only thing they really desperately have to worry about is this Magnus. Luckily, no Blink Dagger, so they are going to be able to maneuver up against it.
I don't think I wouldn't characterize their belief in Magnus as desperate per se, because he still is only level 7. He's got the RP, but it's only 2.25 seconds at level 1. People forget that, but it's substantial, but it's not the back-breaking situation that a level 3 Magnus ultimate is. And because this was a hard lane Magnus rather than a mid,
it delays doing a lot of burst damage. The mana burn will be sufficient, but Telekinesis comes on out. They follow up with a nice impale, and Blah is able to blink on out. Upper on the run, but without any Vendetta, Ninja Boogie can actually pursue here. Yeah, going to keep the trail with that Spectral Dagger and just going to right-click him down. Nice impale, but it's not enough. Magnus picks up a kill, and every little tiny bit that you give to Neo.Int is going to really, really change how their game operates. They already have the Yasha up on Spectre, and he's going to get bigger and bigger as time goes by. So if they start losing traction now, if their momentum starts shifting the other way, I really, really feel that Neo International, although they're currently disadvantaged, can pull this back the complete opposite direction.
That's an interesting perspective. I think Neo-Tai can actually just fortify their lead, personally. I think if they get good vision, they're able to ward aggressively and get a good idea of where Spectre is at any given time. They are 3 towers up, right? So they have this area completely secure, and then this area is sort of a no man's land, and this area is sort of a no man's land for Neo.Int. So the area in which the Spectre can farm is pretty constrained, and the fact that he is going Dispersion last actually means he won't have that much damage reduction if they jump on him. The only thing is, I think Neo-Tai just have to play a little bit more carefully. Like, I think that last attempted gank from the Nyx sort of taught them that he's just not quite big enough to just rule the game yet. I mean, Nyx can snowball. It can happen, but this is a support Nyx, not a mid Nyx.
Exactly.
And so the attempt to kill the Quap, even though it got very, very close, I mean, it's not going to be that strong. So especially, like, the Nyx is certainly not going to solo the Spectre down. They just have to bring more people each time they do it and sort of work as a group. Actually,
oh yeah, that's a bad confrontation. Already popping off the Carapace. It's a pretty short duration, and now he does throw through with that Vendetta, but it's not going to be enough. The Sentry just came down from Lei. They had vision of him walking up the cliff with that Observer on the high ground, and now they were able to get yet another kill on this Nyx. We were talking about him having the Snowball, but now it seems that Snowball is melting rapidly. They are really, really losing that potential to just go for solo ganks, and from there, passive Nyx is a very, very useless Nyx. We do see Blah here with a Blink still available. He has to get on out after picking up that Shadow Demon kill, but he's happy to make that exchange. He is a little bit slowed by the Demonic Purge. Will get maybe hit up by the missile, yeah, but it's not going to be that impactful because they still have every other support just raring to go. Even Spectre popped off that Haunt just to make sure that the team fight would not go unfavorably.
I actually really like this defensive play from Neo.Int right now. It's exactly what they sort of didn't have, and now they're really applying it quite well. And they also keep taking advantage of mistakes from Neo-Tai. I just feel like they think they're more ahead than they really are ahead, right? Like, each time they're sort of like, oh, this will be easy, it'll sort of be a walkover on 1 or 2 heroes. I don't know what the deal is with this homing missile on the creep, but maybe they're as tired as you and I are. But Neo-Tai, I feel like they just need to work a little more together as a team right now. That's the one thing that I think right now at this moment they're lacking just a little bit. And I think they still are advantaged. If they actually take like a 5 vs 5, I think they still have a decent advantage. Tinker can hop in and out, deal a ton of damage. Gyro obviously deals a ton of damage. I don't think Neo.Int have that much recourse to just defend against something like a push here.
Yeah, it's more and more difficult for them. I mean, although Earthshaker is considered one of the ultimate turtle heroes, you're still dealing with a lot of push momentum. Darkseer has that mechanism. They can reinforce everything, and as long as they're in a relatively good position engaging into the fights, the big ultis, are the Earthshaker ulti, the Magnus ulti, Queen of Pain, so on and so forth, they don't really have that great of positioning control. The Mag ulti pulls them all together, but if you can only hit maybe 2 of them simultaneously with it, then you're not really going to be able to get that AoE off. So they're relying right now on Spectre's damage, and she's not going for big damage items necessarily. The Desolate helps, but it's not like she has a Diffusal Blade already. She is going for Yasha Drums, great mobility, great potential to farm away, but as far as being able to teamfight output, it's not ready for her to be carrying just yet.
Definitely. I think the Yasha is good. It gives her more speed, and like I said, when you're at a deficit of map control, you want that additional escapability. Haunt isn't always going to work as an escape tool because sometimes you just don't have a good place to jump to, especially if the entire team went for you. So if he's stuck in the jungle, he's going to want not only the unit walk from the Spectral Dagger, sorry, I should say the terrain walk from the Spectral Dagger, but also just a little bit of extra speed to help him move. And honestly, when he builds this out into the Mantis style, that will be extremely useful as well to shock debuffs, to add more Spectres onto the field. In retrospect, I think this is a better move for him than the Diffusal would have been. Yeah. But Tinker has started on his Dagon, so he's now Blink, Dagon, and Boots of Travel, and this is pretty scary just in terms of pure damage.
Yeah, it's going to make a pretty big impact as far as just really, really quick burst, and like you said, the Dispersion was maxed very gradually. It's about to hit rank 4, but even so, it's still a quick little burst, can do a lot here. Actually, Nullfield not being ranked up at all just yet. I'm kind of surprised at that, because Gyrocopter does does a lot of magic-based damage, and as far as I understand it, the Tinker's universal damage should still be mitigated by that magic damage reduction. But either way, it's going to be, right now, Tinker doing a lot of damage with that Dagon, and it's going to be a force to be reckoned with. But on the other side of that coin, we do see Mag picking up his own blink here, and that's going to put him in a great position to control things a little bit more effectively. I was just talking about how they would only find maybe 2-man RPs, and they can't really get their cluster powerhouse teamfight ultis off unless Neo.TH makes a huge mistake. But with this blink dagger, you can set yourself up for a great skewer to pull more and more individuals into that bad position, and from there you can just completely wreak havoc. But right now it seems more so that TY wants to be on the offensive. They take the tier 2, they smoke on in, and other than Tinker auto-attacking on out, it is going to be 4-man gank squad coming in towards the mid lane here, and this could be a really, really big pick. They just need to get these Sables off the bat. We do see Upper on the front end going for Lei really, really quickly, but we already see a lot of damage from the Haunt. Yan in a pretty rough spot. Now it is a nice little bit of stun, little disable, little damage going across on everybody, but the only one to fall is the Nyx Assassin right now. The RP caught off on 2. Sonic Wave does go on, but here's the BKB. And Tracer doing a lot of right-click damage, and yeah, no Ninja Boogie cannot hold too much right-click, too much magic damage, and as fast as he is, I'm not sure if he can get on out of here. Nice dagger, but trying to die to neutrals. He's actually going to fall to Darkseer's Ion Shell in the end, just barely clipping him on there because he tried to go for one of those kind of cheeky tree TP moves, and in the end he was going to die either to neutrals or to the Darkseer. It just happened to be in favor of the DS.
Yeah, big fight, and Neo.Int actually did a lot right. They had this good ward coverage, so they knew that Neo.TH were coming. The only problem is they knew like 2 seconds before it happened because they were in the exact same spot on the map. So it's one thing to know that there's trouble, but it's another thing to know that there's trouble when it's already upon you. So that's the position that Neo.Int found themselves there. Like I said, they've really been relying quite a bit on this Fissure and these moves from this Earthshaker to actually disrupt Neo.TY's position. Like they did it to the Nyx Assassin multiple times, they did it in the abortive team fight near the Roche Pit. And so in this time, they lose the Earthshaker early, and it doesn't give them that mispositioning capability. And nothing else on their team was able to sort of break through that BKB Gyro, who just dealt enormous amounts of damage to them. Yeah. And now adds a Shadow Blade just for a little more explosiveness. These very just explosive burst damage builds. Neo.TH want to break up people on Neo.Int's team before the sort of combo goes off. And who can blame them? I mean, I think that's the best course of action.
Yeah, Upper actually stalking up Ninja Boogie down on bottom with the Gyrocopter really close, and Tinker able to be jumping on in. Yeah, Tinker's here as well. They missed the Impale, though. Ninja Boogie will be able to go right on through the trees. That might completely cost them that. Yeah, that was a really unfortunate Impale.
I mean, not a lot to be said about that. Upper just kind of straight up whiffing that Impale, and that's a big missed kill, honestly. Any kill you don't get on Spectre. This means that Ninja Boogie's probably going to hit this Manta within maybe a minute.
Yeah. Now, like you're saying, they are going to be trying to add a lot of front-loaded damage to Dagon 2 up as well for the Tinker. So Shadow Blade, Dagons, they're just kind of stacking it on, letting KYT focus on the utility, focus on the survivability so that they can just go for raw damage output. But what of the follow-up? After those first few seconds of huge damage, it kind of feels like Neo.TH falls off a little bit in their output. Sure, the Wall of Replica does a lot. Flat Cannon's second cooldown will come up and dish out a lot of damage, but they don't really have that much long-duration sustain. We do see the Haunt coming out. This is going to start things off nicely. Thaw actually taking a ton of damage. There is the wall and the vacuum going on through, but it's actually going to be an RP onto Gyrocopter, putting him in a bad spot for the Sonic Wave, and here comes Ninja Boogie, dealing a lot of right-click damage, but Intreso answering back. Might be able to bring down Blah here, but there is going to be the Darkseer falling as well. Queen of Pain does drop down, so a triple kill for Quap, double kill for Intreso, and he's on the hunt, on the prowl, looking for Ninja Boogie, but I doubt he's going to be able to find him with this kind of mobility. Even the homing missile just going to be plonking on in the fountain, most likely, if it's not denied entirely.
I mean, getting Ninja Boogie out of there alive is good. It ends up being a 3-for-3 trade, but they do get Blah, and honestly, Blah has quietly had an incredible game. Like, he's piled up quite a few kills. He's avoided dying. I think he's 10-3 now, but he was actually on a godlike streak during that fight. And he's following up every single one of these Mag RPs with a big Sonic Wave, really dealing a lot of damage. Not enough right now to kill the Gyrocopter, and this is their main problem. They can't kill this Gyrocopter. Like, they just really don't have the tools they need to do it just yet. And I think Neo.TH are going to take as much advantage of that as possible. They're going to heavily pressure with the gyro while Neo.Int still don't have the tools to deal with it.
Yeah. Interesting play by Ninja Boogie. He has that Manta up, tried to use it to contest the Tinker directly, but with that Blink Shift Q, it's just really, really difficult to do. So Tinker just kind of showing his kind of complete presence over across the map, and can always just boots the travels away if he's in a pretty rough spot. You have to watch out for those long-range fishers and stuff like that, but so far Lei hasn't really found his opportunity to catch things out. Instead, it's actually going to go the other way around with the Traso, getting a couple more right clicks, flat cannon going in. One more right click is all he needs, but he needs vision as well, and he's actually not going to find it here, so farming things away. Rubik steals it, but he actually gives his position away. Telekinesis, are they going to get a Fisher? It doesn't look like it, but still, he actually, with that Fog of War, sets it up so that Traso cannot actually lock him down. Really, really funny play.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the poise from Rubik there to make sure that, like, I mean, he could have easily died, and it took a lot of guts to sort of hide in there, not do anything, then TK at the perfect time to actually TP out. And honestly, a completely wasted BKB charge, essentially. No kills for it, no opportunities generated, and this Gyro has actually whittled down his BKB to 7 seconds already.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really big deal for them, because if the seconds that they don't have Gyrocopter, we're going, oh, Tinker in a terrible spot, Desley doing tons of damage all by himself. He tries to actually maybe go for a rearm and get on out of there, but instead, he just gets dropped completely, and that's the problem. When you pop off that blink, if the Spectre can still close the distance immediately after, you don't really have ground to stand on, especially by yourself. Now looking on the mid lane, they want to jump on in. Fisher to start it off. They are following it up with big scream damage. Carapace does go on through, but now RP gonna hit on upper alone. Not sure if it's worth it, but they go for a big ulti as they bring down the Nyx. Now looking at KYT, but he has that pipe. Now it's expiring, but they're gonna only pick up one. A lot of ultis committed there. Do you think it was worth it?
Well, they certainly didn't need the Echo to kill Mixed Assassin. I really don't know about the Echo Slam. Everything else I'm more or less fine with. I mean, Quap didn't use her ulti, and that's pretty important because it's level 3. She is building towards a Sheepstick, which is also strong. Wow, what a great sentry.
Yeah, I love late sentries this game. Every single sentry is so high utility. Very, very nice play.
No, I mean, good plays. The one thing I want to question from Neo.Tai is I still think they feel like they're snowballing out of control when you and I are looking at this and they're like, they're not snowballing at all. I mean, this Dagon 4 on the Tinker, obviously this means the Tinker is going to deal a tremendous amount of damage, but he's in danger of just dying occasionally, I feel like.
I think this Dagon has actually been used more on creeps than heroes in actuality.
Like just now.
Ninja Boogie going to be able to get on out of there, so that's an interesting position, but with this vacuum, I mean, they're just going to be searching in the dark, not finding anything at all. And I actually think it was just because he didn't think his team was rotating just yet. He actually just wanted to counter push away. A little bit of March, a little bit of Dagon, farm things up because they know they can't kill the Spectre, at least not 1 versus 1, and it just wasn't good coordination with his teammates.
That's fine as far as it goes, but you don't buy a Dagon 4 to farm. Oh my goodness, that's what you buy a Dagon 4 for. Rubik almost getting one-shot. Of course, Tinker is going to take the feedback from this as what? It didn't one-shot Rubik? That I clearly should rush Dagon 5.
Obviously. Not doing its work here. They need the Dagon 5, they need the Ethereal Blade. Just keep on racking up that magic damage. Eventually it'll work. But, in this situation, we're kind of seeing the exact opposite. They're picking up static damage. It's going to start tapering pretty hardcore, especially when Rubik picks up that null field, which I gotta say, I'm astonished he hasn't even bothered with just yet. I mean, if he was concerned about his HP at all, that would be the first thing to go to, even so far as to only put a couple points of telly. We do actually see a disruption coming out on the Earthshaker. Pretty bad spot for him with this damage coming in from the Vendetta, and that is going to be one dead Earthshaker. Now falling on through, they want to look at Ninja, but he's actually going to get big right clicks here. The Manta style popped off to bring down Thaw, and now going right on over that Fisher to bring down the Nyx as well. Now looking at KYT, they're going in 1 by 1. They're getting shredded, and this is absolutely, completely 100% in favor of Neo International. So, sorry about that. Earthshaker does get traded off, but they're perfectly fine with that kind of exchange. And, of course, now really setting up. Spectre sitting at 4-1 and 14. Heck of a lot of assists, but now a lot of kills on the board as well. And that's going to set it up for the next big item. You think Heart or Diffusal, or what do you think?
I'm feeling Diffusal right now, personally, but Heart will be just as good. It'd be very strong. He does have a stack of 3,000 gold, so I think if he feels more safe right now, but like he'll be in more danger in the future, he should get Heart. And in fact, Heart amazing if you're getting Dagon 5. Like, you can just shrug off that Dagon damage. If they've been paying attention to what Tinker is actually building out, I think the Heart is actually probably the best call. I think, Blaze, we could look at this moment later, that last engagement, and think of it as basically the turn of the tide. Because, I mean, Gold Graphs, like, they're still down 10k, but suddenly they feel pretty good. And I gotta say, Lei, even though he died there, what a beautiful fissure. From up here on the high ground, all the way across,
Yeah.
fully blocking the stairs, making sure the Nyx can't leave, the Darkseer ends up coming late, the Shadow Demon can't come in. I mean, completely splitting up 3 players in 3 different positions that led to 3 extremely easy kills, I think 2 of which were on Ninja Boogie.
Yeah, that was so good. And Ninja Boogie being able to Spectral Dagger on over it, just cliff walking away, and that's going to set it up so that he can just be the one individual that can maneuver around a lot. Also, they do have the Blink available on Blah and on Magnus. He has Skewer, he has Blink. They have a lot of ways of going up and down this terrain that NeoES just really doesn't have a way to respond with. Tai have a bunch of just fast heroes, but they don't have anything that can go over those kinds of positions. And so I kind of feel with a good Fisher placement, the teamfight can be very well divided, and it sets it up so that the international team can just be the ones that are in control of positioning much more so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've struggled with map control all this time, but they have such good vision. The sentries, as you mentioned, have been so on point that they've just been playing safe, and it's been a while since Neo Tai got more than 1 or 2 kills in drips and drabs, frankly. There was a time in which they sort of were chaining kills, but I think they had 16 kills 10 minutes ago, and now they have 17. They will try to make something happen with Roshan. I like this. It's gutsy, because if they get spotted out, it could be quite a lot of trouble for them, but if they get it quickly, it might just get them over that hump that they're stuck at right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a speed bump here, but with the Haunt providing vision, they're going to jump on in. Everybody has to fall back here. They have no other option. There is going to be, actually going in, they pop off the reality, I heard it, so yeah, there is going to be a Spectre on in here, cleaning up onto the Shadow Demon. Now Ninja Boogie's in an awkward position, but he has the team to back him up. The fastest pick in the world coming on through here, but they can follow up with slows. No, Ninja Boogie locked on in. He Quelling Blades on out, but did waste a little bit of valuable time. Now they're just going to go for roast themselves because they can't really follow up with any big kills here. Now Darkseer gonna be looking for maybe an opportunity to go for the wall and go for the vacuum, counter initiate, but I gotta say most of the counter initiation is gonna be in International's hands, and right now Ninja Boogie, Blah just gonna duo up the Roshan, and even a beautiful smoke. Since they don't have a sentry here, there's really no way that they can initiate other than a little bit of harassment here and there. It'll add up pretty quickly, but here comes there is gonna be that RP coming out on upper, burning him down immediately. No disables there. They do see Spectre picking up, getting the kill on Grosh, getting the Aegis, and now he has to use it immediately. There's gonna be Yon kill, but now no Ninja Boogie dealing out with Intrenzo. He has a huge amount of damage, but it's not enough. Ultra kill for Intrenzo in the end. Just too much with that Daedalus. Single target, right-click him on down, and that is something that Spectre just could not hold with. Just really good movement from Tai team. I mean, the situation there was rather bleak. Going in against the Reverse Polarity on the Magnus, the Echo Slam on the Earthshaker. It's a hard fight to take. It's a hard position to overcome, and they played it out very nicely. Now about to take down the Rubik as well. He's delaying things inevitably, but it's going to be his death in the end. Oh my gosh. I mean, they got
5 down.
One thing to mention is International did get the Roche kill. That's good gold, good experience, but they also technically lost Spectre twice because the Aegis dropped down immediately. So, great thing is Spectre didn't die 2 seconds in the fight and never got right back in the fray. Yeah, the problem is she still couldn't handle the Gyro 1 versus 1, and with the Darkseer there, the Desolate wasn't even helping out.
That gold is gone, Blaze. They lost all that gold, unfortunately. I mean, it is reliable, but still, they lost an equal amount of gold from a different pot in their inventory.
Sure.
What a huge fight, and that's the one thing. I sort of talked about it 5 minutes ago, and then I forgot because I have the attention span of a mayfly, but Neo.Int can kill supports, they can fight back, but they don't have enough tools to kill the Gyro. And that was true 5 minutes ago, and it's true now. There was what ended up happening in that fight was basically a 1v1 grudge match between Spectre and Gyro, and Spectre didn't have nearly enough in the tank to win that. There was a Darkseer wall, but neither of them crossed it. I mean, not that it would matter that the Gyro crossed it. This isn't pre-patch Darkseer. But Spectre didn't cross it, so there wasn't that additional illusion. It's just that the Spectre is not beefy enough. And he has finished Radiance. Yeah. What's your take on this Radiance?
It's obviously very belated. It is in a position here where it's not going to be as good of a tool in a farming sense because they're already pushed in from all angles here. They've lost all their tier 2s. They're getting pressured on by the tier 3s with double damage, and they don't have an Aegis or any kind of Roche type mechanics to back them up here. They're pretty much on their last legs if they don't get a great initiation. They have all their tools up. They have all their tricks up their sleeve, but they have to use them appropriately here or it's going to be the end of the line. We do have Spectre available, split pushing for the moment. And when the Haunt comes on through, that is going to be a 45 magic damage per second drain on everybody, but at best, it'll nullify the pipe. At best, that's pretty much going to be it. The pipe will be nullified, and that'll give an opportunity for Queen of Pain to make some big damage happen with that Sonic Wave. But along with that, the longer she has this, the longer Spectre has that Radiance to work with, the more effective she's going to be at farming, and the more incentive NeoES Tai is going to have to focus down the Spectre, which is something that's really actually important for them. She has some good damage with the Manta, with the Drum, but if she just bought a straight Heart, then there is not enough a really good incentive to go on her. So they really need to say, hey, look at me, I'm the guy you want to pick off, and from there the Dispersion will do its work. The problem is, it doesn't change her state versus the Gyrocopter. Gyrocopter's still going to do a ton of damage, moving into for a Satanic now, I believe, and Intrenzo still going to be able to do his damage here, and in that sense I would much prefer something like a Diffusal Blade.
Right. Permission to speak frankly, Blaze?
Sure.
I hate the Radiance pick. I think it's so bad.
Well, we'll see how it works here. We do see Sonic Wave immediately taking off the Shadow Demon. They hate this Shadow Demon. He always dies first fight. Now we do see coming on through RP, trying to be committed, but instead just hits on nothing but creeps. Now Jan is not going to be able to pursue an upper. He went in Biz. Now there is actually not too much happening, but all of them falling back. Jan taking huge hits from this burst damage, but they did have the null field in range, and so Jan will survive. Upper on the run. The Radiance might just do its trick here, but the Carapace is actually going to make sure Ninja Boogie is stunned on out. So will Upper get out of range? It's hard to say. With this Fissure, absolutely
nice. Good Fissure. Excellent Fissure from Earthshaker there again. That force, he just has tier 1 boots and 4 staff, and that's enough for this Earthshaker to actually contribute a lot this game. He's done a lot. Blaze, I hate the Radiance. I mean, sure, you get farm, but they have so little map control. Tai are sort of ruling the map right now. You can see they've pushed very aggressively down this mid with these wards. They can chase the Spectre down and pick her off quickly, more so than the Radiance is actually going to help her. Luckily, the fact that he has survived since then means that he's attaining farm pretty quickly, which he would be doing without the Radiance, just because he does have Empower Cleave now, which also helps you farm. It's like I mean, it's basically a Battle Fury, right?
Yeah, essentially.
So this is going to get him towards his heart quickly, and this is really what I want. I think the heart is crucial, because otherwise Gyro just chews through you. Yeah. Sure, you have the Radiance damage, but even saying that that takes out Pipe is kind of optimistic. Like, how many seconds does it have to be active to actually
it would be the full 8-second duration of the Pipe, and it generally pretty much just 100% they cancel each other out. So in this situation, it sets it up so that the damage will be relevant if like Queen of Pain and Sonic Waves and stuff like that come on through here. One thing. It's a darn fact that the longer she has Radiance, the more and more relevant it's going to be. The issue is, it's not really changing that matchup. It's still having that much potential for the Gyrocopter, and until the heart comes out, Ninja Boogie is still going to be fighting from behind.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think the item choices that are questionable from Tai are actually enough to counteract the fact that this Gyrocopter's item choices are pretty impeccable. Like, I don't like the Radiance, I don't like the Dagon 5 on Tinker at all. I think it's done 6 of nothing and 12 of nothing in this game. Like, I really don't think the Dagon has had much impact, but right now Neo.Int are struggling to land the RPs, actually.
Yeah, that's
Jan
so
has hit
true.
on 1 in 2 fights and then 0 in 1 fight. And they need big RPs, I feel like, still. Eventually the Spectre will be able to carry, but right now they really still need that RP. And it's not coming through.
Yeah. There's one other thing that Radiance provides, before we kind of let that topic to rest. The one other thing that Radiance does negate is Tinker's Blink. If he can go for more and more solo ganks on the Tinker, who honestly isn't that survivable since he has Rush for Dagon, has Rush for the Ethereal Blade, the Ghost helps a little bit, but it's only going to be so much. Ninja Boogie now almost got 2-man, but the TP was cancelled, and instead it's just going to be him taking down this tier 2 tower all by his lonesome. Actually going to be TPing on back here, though. Doesn't really feel confident in his position either way. Well, as I was saying, all it is, one extra little tiny benefit is that Blink will be negated, but we see a wall rug already coming down. It's almost like a disincentive to try to take this fight. The tier 3 will be dropping very, very quickly, and there's not much International can do to engage on through this, especially with the March. Just kind of going on away, burning down Lei's health pool, and making sure that he doesn't have as much room to jump on in.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely want to focus on Lei. They want to make sure that he can't sort of disrupt the fights, because in the absence of great RPs, the fissures have been just so on point. And he hasn't gotten a huge Echo Slam off yet, but this isn't a game where there's an opportunity for like 5-hero Echo Slams all the time. These are really mobile heroes, and Gyro is going to BKB early, and you're not going to get the Chaos Dunk. It's just not going to happen. So, use it intelligently. Use it to stun the people that you want to stun lock. So sometimes that's been Shadow Demon, sometimes it's been Nyx Assassin. It's definitely Tinker if they can afford to do that. And so that's sort of what they've been going for with these Echo Slams, which honestly I think is incredibly intelligent.
Yeah, can be very, very effective here. It looks like
waiting for Roche.
Yeah, both teams are kind of looking at Roche here and there. They didn't exactly time it appropriately, but they will have the Wild Replica back before it's actually going to be necessary in that kind of engagement. So in this position, it's actually things are not going to really change until that Roche comes down.
Dead.
But yeah, one more right click is all he needs. Actually, yeah, gets the blink off and finishes off the Tinker, which is not what he can afford. If he wants that Ethereal Blade, he better get it darn quick. And right now, delaying it even another minute is going to make it worse and worse. And now a buyback coming on out. That cost him a lot. That actually cost him 1,200, but he's going to jump on in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they are committing pipe. They have to go in this very second, and a nice little bit of Fisher action is going to delay them. Now blinking on, they're not finding their kills yet. Flathead goes on through, big double damage.
So much damage.
And, yeah, that is going to be the tier 3 to fall. The question is the follow-up here. There is a Spectre actually doing some split push action in the mid. It's kind of weird. But, they're having Queen of Pain on bottom. They're having the Spectre in the mid, but the racks are still falling very, very swiftly. No backdoor protection. It looks like they're just going to lose it. That's very, very unfortunate for them, but I guess if you're 41 minutes in a Spectre game, one single racks isn't the end of the world.
It's DD. They can't afford to fight Gyro with the DD up. I actually think it's pretty smart. It's triage. They know that they're going to lose that, and they're just going to have to deal with it. I think Ninja Boogie was trying to trigger backdoor or something with the mid counter push. Yeah. But honestly, I just think it wasn't their time. It wasn't their time to try to fight and die, because if they had fought and died, it would have been 2 Raxes, not 1. Yeah. So smart. It's tough. It's unfortunate to be in the position where you have to say, okay, have our racks. Yeah. But that's where Neo.Int are right now, and that doesn't mean that they can't win. The Spectre can still turn this around pretty decently. I mean, what can you do against a Gyro who does tons of damage? Have somebody who delivers that damage right back to him and his entire team. And so that is a strength of Spectre. They just need the survivability to actually live through the Gyro damage and deliver it all back. But once they get that, this game could go either way. This Gyro's BKB is, if it's not 5 already, it's 5 already.
Yeah, and now we do see the Spectre immediately picking up the hard. They're going for Intrezo here. He does pop off the BKB, but the right clicks are here. Ninja Boogie is in the fray. They commit the reverse polarity, and that Satanic was used at the exact same time. Terrible timing for him. The vacuum pulls Blah into a bad spot, but it's a 2 versus 4, and that's going to be completely in the favor of International. They bought back on in from the Gyrocopter. They do get a Dagon off on the Gyrocopter, but that's still a lot of gold committed to just bring down a Quap, who will be able to buy back if necessary. They don't feel just this moment that it's their time to buy back on in, but they might need it here. And Trezo trying to close in on the mag, and nice Fisher. Beautiful Fisher coming out. The homing missile will keep its action, but with Jan doing the skewer, doing the or just blinking and TPing, he's going to be able to get on out of a very rough spot.
Oh, Lai is so good. Oh my god. Lei, sorry. His Earthshaker play has just been great. And Earthshaker's a hero, honestly, I don't think we see enough of. He does need a little bit of levels. You want to get him that blink, although, honestly, Force Staff has been doing just as well this game. When you're not going for the Chaos Dunks, having the hard blink isn't quite as important, and the Force Staff does just fine, frankly. Tinker, good Ghost Scepter usage. I do like the Ghost Scepter pickup. I honestly would have liked to see it earlier. I feel like Dagon 5, Blaze, it's 14,000 gold. Imagine me making like a Dr. Evil motion as I say that. For that money, you could have like Sheep Orchid Ghost Scepter. Like, do you... I just don't know when I'd rather have a Dagon 5 than a Sheep Orchid Ghost Scepter, but...
Yeah. 8k gold for that Dagon 5 does add up quickly, and add in that Ethereal Blade, and you're dealing with a lot. So it's pretty ridiculous here. They are going to be able to take this Roche completely uncontested here, and Traceso picking up an Aegis. Do you think this is something that International can actually deal with? Is Traceso going to be too big?
It'll be tough. I mean, the Empower on Spectre will help. The Heart completed on Spectre will help. I mean, let's not underestimate Ninja Boogie, despite the fact that they're on the back foot, they have almost no wards. He's farmed so safely. He's up to 500 gold per minute, 330 last hits, and only 2 deaths. This has been a good defensive Spectre properly played. And the only question is Neo.Tai going to give them the time to sort of tip the scales, or are they going to go for the kill? So far, they've been going for the kill. It hasn't honestly worked out that great, but we'll see how the next engagement goes, because if they get another set of Raxes, they might be a little too far ahead. We've still got a tier 1 tower up in the mid, so like this counter push, they don't give a shit about this counter push, Blaze.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because Trezo has picked up yet another freaking double damage. He's going to hammer down his tower, no problem at all, and without the fortification, it's already dead. So in Trezo, there is a nice Fisher to start things off against him. They go for the haunt, and I guess we're going to have this engagement, but I'm not sure if they can fully take it here. They have to get perfect disabled. The pipe comes out looking for that RP, but it actually overshoots it. Now Jan does finally get on Tracer, but the damage isn't there. It's all on the other end where Blah pops up a nice Dream Coil, and Ninja Boogie is just trying to clean up all the supports. He does pop off that Manta. Big damage coming out, but he can't stay on target. Upper finishes off onto the Queen of Pain, and right now Ninja Boogie can't close the distance. Nice dagger. Doesn't clip on him, but it should get him close enough to finish things out. However, buyback from the Queen of Pain. Upper in a bad spot. Lei is going to be able to at least get one kill here. Set it up. No, the Echo Slam only hits on 2. Now Ninja Boogie in a bad spot versus the Gyrocopter. Again, still has that Aegis, so they cannot directly contest him. Lose the gem, and without this RP, it seems completely wasteful to try to go in on this. The Scythe of Ice helping out a bit, but here comes the Shadow Blade. The gem is still on the ground, so Jan is just going to get wrecked, and they are trying to contest 2 lives. What are they doing? They cannot contest this directly. They lose the Spectre, forcing out the buyback. Big money in the grave because of it. Now, Trezo just walks away, no problem at all. And yeah, that is the fight that they didn't need to take, and they just couldn't really afford to. The thing that you have to do versus an Aegis the Immortal, especially with a carry this big, is just try to wait out that 6 minutes. It would have been still a good amount of time. I mean, you're still looking at another 4 minutes, I'd say. But if you can just try to pull back, get full health, and contest them on even ground, you might be in a better situation. I don't know. They got the buyback up, so that's rolling on cooldown, and if that comes back up, I guess it won't be the end of the world, but right there, it was a hard fight for them to pick, and in the end, they obviously wanted to try to take it without losing Ninja Boogie.
Yeah, if they can... Yeah, I don't know. I do feel like they threw away a lot. They wanted to kill him somehow, some way. And they did get the Aegis, which is something, but now, I mean, they've got long buyback cooldowns. How many people bought back in that fight? I mean, I think Tinker did, but definitely Spectre and Quap. It's a lot of money spent. Everybody is sort of moving towards full inventory, so you get to the point at which you sort of just want to chain buyback. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you pretty much covered it off. It's a tough situation. They're gonna try to kill Entreso again, but just the Quap. I mean, they can't really do this. Tinker popping off that Dagon.
Yeah, a lot of damage now, but Orchid it up. Can't cast. You're not gonna be able to accomplish too much. The Haunt does come on out, and although there is a lot of right-click damage, it's gonna actually bring down Tinker in time. Now KYT trying to get some action in. Of course, Gyrocopter has been just DPS and hardcore. Sonic Wave does come on out, but it's still gonna be the second death of the Spectre. 100 seconds, no buyback. That might just be it.
It's going to be tough. I mean, 90 seconds. This Queen of Pain is
no TP. Yeah, that's her death too.
2 straight mana burn kills on that Queen of Pain from Nyx Assassin. Like, even when she's trying to get away, he just
What are they doing here, do you think? They're going on in. They have all their cooldowns up, but they pop it off. The problem is Spectre's dead. Without any damage output, they're not finishing up anybody. The pipe is back up in the action. Now, here comes Gyrocopter with big flat cannon damage. And Tracer looks low, but he has that lifesteal, and now surged on in. He's going to clean up at least 1 hero here, no problem at all. So, I guess they might be playing a little bit of delay tactics with the fact that they're throwing their lives on down there. They're not going to be able to contest it against them at 3 versus 4 in the base, so just kind of throw it on out there and hope to respawn before it actually gets a little too messy. But I think that time has already come. 48 seconds on Spectre, that's plenty of time for these racks.
I think that's frustration speaking from Neo.Int, honestly. Just throwing more and more, like, you throw something at the wall, it doesn't stick. You throw something else, it still doesn't stick, and you just... Whatever they throw at this Gyrocopter, he can just shrug off, and it's just because he's too big. I mean, the Satanic, we talked a little about it, but it lets him just shrug off so much damage and throw so much back. And he's got the crit. Crit doesn't percolate to Flat Cannon, but in this game, they actually don't care that much. It's really important to crit that Spectre, bring him down quickly, and then worry about everybody else. I mean, Flak, with or without the crit, will kill everybody else. It's mainly the Spectre that you have to worry about. And so Neo.Int just getting more and more frustrated that they can't pick off this Gyrocopter, committing more and more resources to it, to the point where they're just diving one by one. The last fight, they didn't even put, like the 2 fights ago, it was 5 versus 1. Which, okay, maybe like, if you can't kill Gyro 5 versus 1, that's a problem, but the solution to that isn't to try to kill him 2 versus 1.
Yeah.
Like, surely that can't be your response to that. And I mean, I think it's just frustration speaking, because this Gyro really has... I mean, Intrezo has really had an incredibly dominant game. He's 15-2. There really hasn't been a point at which he hasn't been the most dangerous person on the map.
Absolutely.
And so he's just been able to take Spectre and take everybody else again and again.
Yeah, the one major time that they were able to bring him down, Jan had a perfectly timed reverse polarity during the Satanic, but now we see, even now, they get a good initiation off, but following it on up, they do get their reverse polarity on Trezo. He will not be able to survive long enough to get the lifesteal. They burst him down too hard, and now they're going to take KYT. The buyback comes on through. The one thing to mention, of course, we didn't hit on it, but it's kind of self-evident. The fact that all the racks have fallen. The Mega Creeps will be pushing on through with this next wave here, and even as much counter push that Blah provides, it's going to take the Empowered Spectre to be able to defend any of these lanes.
I mean, Gyro had so much money, Blaze, that he bought back, went to Secret Shop, and bought a full Rapier.
Shoot.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Maybe if Gyro was on Neo.Int and bought the Rapier, it'd be like, okay, maybe they can defend Megas, but I mean...
Yeah, this is like ZSMJ style play right here. This is so much money. 402 CS, more importantly, 15, 3, and 14. He has just really been carrying the team on his shoulders, because I gotta say, there's a couple of ones that can't really pull their weight in this position. As much as he's been trying to make things happen as using his utility, the issue is he just gets picked off so darn quick. 1400 HP, all the nukes are sufficient to bring that down, and along with that, the Tinker, sitting at Dagon 5, almost Ethereal Blade this entire game, and what's he sitting at? 3 kills? Literally 3 kills.
Right.
It just hasn't been pulling the weight nearly comparatively. It's really been...
it's just the Gyro.
Gyro doing so much here, and yeah, in Trezo, obviously going to be taking this MVP here, but it doesn't look like International wants to give up just yet. Ninjabuki still, if anybody can counter push out, it's either the Gyrocopter or this Empowered Spectre, but it's still... with this momentum that's in the base, just forcing them to kind of stay in this top right corner of the map the entire time, it means that they aren't going to be able to put any pressure out in the other direction, and it's going to take the biggest throw in the world for Neo.TH to lose this.
I mean, here's what Neo.TH did this game. I mean, regardless of individual decisions made by their players, what it is, they got map control. They got it early, and they farmed and milked the hell out of it. And so even in the mid game, where they sort of struggled to get those pickoffs, they were keeping Neo.Int constrained. They were making sure that as fast as the Spectre was building, Gyro was building substantially faster. And so at no point were Neo.Int in a position to actually do anything more than win a small engagement here or there. They were never going to actually make a huge push. They were never going to just dominate Neo.ES. I mean, pretty much every time that the core heroes on Neo.TH actually died, every time you had Bungzel dying or Intreso dying, they had buyback. Every time. And Neo.Int usually had buyback for the Quap and Spectre, but every time they bought back, they were losing a little bit more ground. They lost those mid-Raxes, then they lost more Raxes. And so just being on the back foot the whole game, not getting the space to actually make the Spectre the biggest thing on the map, it puts you in a tough position regardless of what the other team does. It didn't help that, honestly, I think in mid-game they had an opportunity to really turn it, and there was just some missed Magnus RPs. Like, the RP wasn't quite there. I honestly feel Lei was playing out of his mind on Earth.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
And just there wasn't the same amount of impact from Rubik and from Magnus. Like, the steals weren't as dramatic as sometimes we get from the world's top Rubiks, and the RPs, frankly, were hardly dramatic either.
I hate to try to give a little bit of hope on the situation of the Dire in the sense that it's probably going to be snuffed out within the next 30 seconds, but there is a refresher orb up on this Magnus. Okay. If you get 2 RPs off on this Gyrocopter, rank 3 no less, he's not going to be able to use his lifesteal. He's just going to lose that Rapier. And even
losing the Rapier would be bad.
Yeah, even though Spectre cannot propagate that damage to the illusions, she's still going to be able to right-click amazingly well, and they could back her up and try to go in for the counter kill. But yeah, like you're indicating there, they do have Roche coming up very shortly, and that might just be Neo's opportunity. Very cautious play, but very knowing their limits, knowing they don't want to throw things away, and actually going in for another opportunity. I gotta say, double damage has been MVP in this game. Like, he always freaking has it.
How does he always have double damage? That's really the question.
He's actually going to reality on in. So with this disruption, they're going to keep Spectre locked in place, looking for the stun. They get the Impale this time around. The Vacuum on top of a big wall. Nice attempt for a Chaos Dunk, but no. It's going to be all this damage for Intreso, just right-clicking down. 600 some odd damage. It's just way too much, and now it's going to be the death of the Ancient here. So it's just evaporation, and actually calling out his own preemptive GG.
Wow, offensive GG. I mean, honestly, these guys, I'm sure, are friends.
Sure.
The same esports organization. This is not BM. At least we hope it's not BM. But frankly, if there's a time you can call offensive GG, it's probably when you're like a 20-2 Gyro with Rapier. Like, you're feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty confident.
Yeah, that is just ridiculous net worth. He's been able to overcome every single fight. Like you said, there was not a single point, let's say past the 10-minute mark. Obviously, that's a little bit void there, but beyond the 10 to 15-minute mark, there was not a single point in this game that Gyrocopter was not the most dangerous guy on the map, and was able to just kind of strut around with that. Had some good backup, had some good initiation here and there, but it was really him that was there to deliver the right-click damage, even on as little as a 5-second BKB, even on, actually, I think he might have bought a second BKB. I'm not 100% sure, but it's currently showing 10 seconds. I'm not sure if that actually is right on the score screen, but I wouldn't put it past him. He had so much gold to work with. I could easily see him buying a brand new one for only 3,900. Either way, he was up against the Sheepstick, he was up against the Spectre and the Earthshaker. Even the Mag did great RPs, but the timing was never right. The team fights were never in their favor. And one other thing that I felt Ninja Boogie could have done a little bit differently is the haunt timing was always before the action was happening, not necessarily during. There's kind of advantages and disadvantages. You get more Desolate procs when they're more spread, but also... And you also get vision, and that's nice too, to set things up. But they can heal up a little bit, quick mech, and suddenly you lost a big cooldown. And it may or may not be the best course of action. And also, of course, we talked about item buildup, so we're not going to go right back on into that Radiance discussion. But in that situation, it's debatable whether or not that was the best course of action. Either way, we do see that the Gyrocopter came out on top, and there's really no question about that. With a score of 18, 3, and 15, and dealing 600 damage per right click, Intrezo carried his team to victory. So very well played to them. What we're going to be doing is going on into Game 2 of this best of 3 series. Neo-Tai taking the first game, but we'll see if the international team can answer it back in this quarterfinal round of GEST. Any other closing thoughts?
No, I mean, it's exciting to see Game 2. I think Neo.Int were slightly favored for this series, at least from the odds makers, but both teams have placed impressive results, and so I'm excited to see what they come out with for Game 2.
Sure. Real quick, I'll go ahead and just mention that if you guys are interested in hearing me cast a little bit more, I can't say it's necessarily my best appearance here because I am a little bit limited as far as the Asian Dota knowledge, and I have been deprived of quite a bit of sleep, but one of those should be improving as the night goes on. One of those will be a little bit more detrimental. Either way, if you guys are enjoying the casting, you can check me out at BlazeCasting on Twitter, and where can they find you, Vic? If he's still in here.
I actually just muted myself, but they can find me Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Google. I have my own website, vykromond.com. And starting Monday, I think the newest tournament ticket in the store, that's me too.
Cool. So, yeah, we generally cast the Premier League most days, Sunday through Thursday, but in this case, we're helping out with Beyond the Summit, covering up some simultaneous games. So, awesome game so far. Looking forward to the next one, and we'll catch you guys there.